morning, March 19th, and we're continuing to take testimony on S9. And who do I have first on my list here? I can't remember. Let's see. Well, we'll start with Judge Zoning. Even though, you're last on the list, but
Thank you. Tim wasn't last?
no, actually, Marshall was first, and Marshall's not here.
Good morning.
Morning. Thank you.
Zoning Chief Superior Judge, we support the bill. It really is. It really is that simple. When the bill came up originally, the question was asked, would the judiciary have as far as impact, do we have the capacity to do these? In 2024, there were 32 civil sexual assault matters filed. We do have the capacity to be able to absorb that. The effective date is set for September 1st. That allows the court to be able to speak to the after-hours workers and address any potential contract issues to add this. Currently, they do the relief from abuse and the extreme risk protection orders. So this may be something that has to be adjusted with respect to contract. If that doesn't work, if there's issues with the contract, we do have contractors who are not staff, and we have the ability to have it go through there. As far as any potential budget impact, we can't assess whether or not there would be a significant budget impact. It's not expected to, given the low numbers of cases. If there were a budget impact in the future, we could come back. But again, we think that with our current budget, we would be able to absorb this and go forward. I would note that there are questions at times that come up about, well, what about adding stalking? And unless you have questions, I would just say that is something that we could not take in at this time.
I think that addresses all the questions that actually came up yesterday, except for Ken's. Ken answers mine.
Any policy problems or anything like that?
It is a policy, but we can absorb and certainly further the policy. And as I testified in the Senate, we recognize that the example that has been used is a college student at UVM on a Friday night may not want to go to the police and may need protection from a sexual assault. And certainly I understand that policy and we can effectuate it.
I just want to make sure policy is covered with you.
Any questions for Judge Zoning? Go ahead, Angela.
Just I guess make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So you said there were 32 in 2024, and those were that means 32 during the day, during business hours. And so you're confident that whatever additional there may be, assuming some of those, I'm kind of just working this through in my head, some of those could have happened after hours if that had been available, but you're not anticipating, based on information you have, a whole lot more than 32 necessarily, just because now people can access this relief after hours.
Even if they can access it after hours and that increases the number, I don't think it's a number from what we can anticipate. We don't think it's a number that's going to have us go, oh boy, this is so high. It's not going to, I don't believe it's going to go up to 100, something like that. I think the numbers will still be relatively low and we can absorb it. If that changes, we would come back and say, boy, things worked out differently, but we don't anticipate that. We think we will be able to absorb it.
Okay. And I did have a question yesterday. Who is the authorized person usually so
Who works with the individuals applying for the relief?
Well, it says, I'm looking at line 12, page 1, the court shall designate an authorized person to receive requests.
That is someone, it's either a staff member or a contractor who the court administrator's office hires to address these matters after hours. So it's a person who, if for instance, it can be a court employee who's worked the normal shift. And then at 4:30, they also are on call that night as far as the authorized person. When the calls come in, they go to the call center, then they're told, okay, here's the person, and they call you. Then the authorized person calls back the individual who's seeking relief.
Okay. And that authorized person is someone who's done this type of work before.
Not only have they done this work before, well, somebody has a first day for every job,
right,
but they are trained. And we have a training program through the court administrator's office that works with them. That training is not once and done. In other words, It's not a situation where we give you training and then say, okay, have a great day, goodbye. It's, there is constant training, and update as far as I'm aware.
Okay, and that would include trauma-informed training or?
I believe actually Judge Suntag worked with the group at some point in the past and may have included that. But Lori Canty would be the one to know specifically what the training encompasses.
Ian?
Do you know the ratio of how many during work hours versus after hours RFAs are filed?
I don't have that number off the top of my head.
And then the only other question was, so if we're borrowing the language almost exactly from 15 VSA 1106, is there anything in the procedure that's laid out that's happening with RFAs that isn't working well, or that we could change at all if we're going to be copying language?
I'm unaware of anything that has been identified as issues. The network and the victims advocate groups may have some concerns, but I'm unaware of anything. My understanding is that things are working in the way they're intended.
Thank you.
Other questions? Thank you very much, Judge.
Thank you.
I appreciate the testimony.
Have a great day and happy birthday.
Kim, if you could join us. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Happy birthday. Thank you. It's fun. For the record, my name is Kim McManus. I'm with the Department of State's Attorneys and Sheriffs. We appreciate being asked in on S9. As you all know, this is outside of our lane. We do not get involved at this point, but we do support adding the ability for survivors to be able to get a temporary relief in this emergency fashion. We completely understand the need for it and that this is a gap that needs to be filled. We checked in with the sheriff side of our operation, and there's no issue from their end as far as being able to serve these orders, as mentioned by other guests, including just the judge. The numbers are not going to be an issue, that there's a capacity piece there. So they'll be able to serve these orders just like relief from abuse orders that are given after hours.
Questions? I hate to have you here. Give us 2 minutes and we don't
It's
have.
a nice walk. Though
It's a nice day.
I did just want to flag one thing.
There it is.
No, and this is more, and I can email Ledge Counsel. I'll just mention it here. I was looking through the statute because it's not something I'm as familiar with. And there's a sentence in 5134, the second sentence, that just currently says about stalking or sexual assault orders that they shall be filed during regular court hours. So I just wanted to flag that just to make sure there was not a discrepancy there. So there just needs to be some cross-reference, I would imagine.
Gotcha.
And that was in 5134.
5134, when it talks about emergency relief orders, and then just to make sure the procedure not match up.
That's. It's also Title 12, right?
It is, yeah. So it's in that same section. So it jumped out at me as.
134. Okay.
Very helpful. And I can leave that to here.
Oh. Great. All right. Well, we'll just talk to Michelle about that. That fixed. Make sure we get that fixed. So
Thank you so much.
thank you very much.
I really just came for the cake. I got word on
Well.
it.
Well, you,
And when I walked in, I mean, it's so beautiful.
so yeah, stick around. I think, we might see if Angela will let us have some of her cake after this little breakfast cake. So I kind of messed up with my scheduling today. I was gonna have.
You did a heck of a job.
But I should have scheduled this for 10:30. So people could have just come in at 10:30 because
Oh, I see.
now we don't have anything till 11. So, and so, I mean, we do have things because we're gonna do some preparation for the report, H222. We have some cake that we have to eat.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's, we're having a little time for some constituent services. So, you're welcome.
Bacon and eggs constituent service.
Yeah, that's constituent. Yeah, make sure you have some cake for dessert, breakfast dessert.
Yes. What do you mean you're welcome? You're